It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time, no accident.
Too sexy for this girl, too sexy for this girl, too sexy for this girl. Uh, uh, uh. Oh shit, I didn't even know y'all was there. What's going on, family? Read, remember, repeat. I caught your boy in a little mood right there. Know what I mean? Listening to that new Drake and all that. Shit, man. But how y'all feeling today? Y'all know what we doing. Hustle harder, hustle smarter. 50 Cent book. I'm gonna try to get through this faster for y'all. We on page 108. We still got some more to go. We gonna start doing the morning and night reads because the more knowledge, the better, right? The average billionaire reads 30 books a year. So that's just some knowledge, you know what I mean? It's a numbers game. Let's go. Not long after Power launched, I was at a party at Jamie Foxx's house in LA. At one point, I was telling Jamie and a bunch of guys on his team a version of the same story I just shared with you. How I went to stars with a vision. Didn't get caught up on how much I was getting paid and used that financial flexibility to fully execute my vision. You see that? You see how 50 just did that? Jamie told his friends when I was done, he'd just be doing shit. We gotta stop asking and just start doing shit too. Let's go. Jamie was just trying to motivate his team. In reality, he makes as many things happen as anyone. But in that moment, he managed to capture one of my fundamental principles in creating success. Just do shit. It seems like an obvious enough approach, but we spend a lot of time waiting for permission to do shit instead of just making it happen. We fall into the trap of thinking the so-called gatekeepers, a boss, an executive, an agent, a critic, have to unlock that door ahead for us. When more than not, it's already wide open. It's just waiting for us to walk through. One of the best ways to bypass those gatekeepers is to go directly to the people with your ideas. The more time I spend with corporate executives, the more I've noticed how clueless they are about how to connect with the public. They'll form focus groups, commission studies, hire influencers, everything but go directly to the people. My strategy has always been the opposite. I always try to connect with people on the most basic level. Take my involvement in the spirits industry when I first got involved with F and Vodka back in 2015. The conventional wisdom said that the best way to sell vodka was to make it appear aspirational. Premium liquor had to represent a lifestyle that was slightly out of reach. That might have been what the market departments thought would work, but that's not how I was going to approach things. I decided the best way to increase its market share was for me to be literally within reach of my fans. The way I would do it was by hosting as many promotional events as possible. When I first got into the music business, meet and greets were an incredibly effective way to sell CDs. If I did an event at Tower Records, Best Buy, or Virgin Megastore, there would be lines out the door and around the corner. People wanted to shake my hand and get a picture, to have a connection with me, even if it only lasted 5 seconds. The MP3s replaced CDs, and there wasn't anything to sell in person anymore. Meet and greets largely went out of style. I could understand the music business moving away from them, but why wouldn't that be relevant for spirits? CD sales dried up, but last time I checked, no one had managed to figure out how to stream a bottle of vodka. I didn't see any reason why meet and greets couldn't be extremely effective to sell liquor. That desire for a connection was still there. To test my theory, I decided to do a series of meet and greets in liquor stores around the country. Specifically, I focused on smaller cities, places like Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville, where I knew my presence would be a big deal. The meet and greets were extremely successful. People would hear I was going to be at a liquor store in their town, and they line up just like they used to for CDs, even better. When people waited in line for a CD, they usually bought just one. But if you waited for 2 hours to see me at a liquor store, you're probably not going to just buy one bottle. Instead, you might say, I'm going to get one bottle for tonight, but I might as well get another couple bottles since Christmas is coming and a lot of people are going to be over. Just like that, I've sold 3 bottles to one person, and the line is around the corner. My in-store appearances were so successful that Puffy tried to copy them by having one in the Bronx with French Montana for Ciroc. It didn't work for him, though. The problem was that French is always in the Bronx. You might see him pull up to the liquor mart on a regular day. So why wait online to see him? What Puffy should have done was follow my lead and hold the event in a smaller market. Then he would have sold some bottles. In addition to meet and greets, I used social media to connect directly with the public. If someone posted a picture of themselves on IG holding a bottle of effing, I might repost it to my page. That person would see their followers increase dramatically and they become loyal to the brand. Other people would see what was happening and be encouraged to post their own picture with effing bottles. I was training my fan base to see the incentive in supporting effing. It became a cool thing to do. I had created an online movement without spending a single marketing dollar. I see a lot of parallels between how we moved in the crack game back then and how savvy people are moving on social media today. People move based on direct interaction, not on what a suit tells them. The internet is making the gatekeepers much less relevant. For instance, back in the day, if you had a great idea for a film, you had to pitch it to a studio because you needed access to their money and promotional potential. The studio was the gatekeeper that confirmed whether your idea had any value. Today, if you have a film idea you're passionate about, you don't need that studio to get it off the ground. You can literally shoot that movie with a smartphone, edit it on your laptop, and distribute it yourself on YouTube. If your work is good enough and speaks to your audience, people will watch it. It might take time, but eventually the word will spread that you've made something of value. Then the studios will reach out to you. You've proved that you have an audience, but even more important, you've shown that you actually know how to make something. That's critical. All sorts of people have ideas. Some people even have scripts, but very few people have proved that they actually know how to make something, to build it from scratch. That's actually the most important thing to a studio. They want to know that if they sign you to a deal, you're not going to waste their money and never deliver anything. Sure, they prefer it not suck, but the most important thing to them is that it actually gets made. Do you ever wonder why in Hollywood some directors keep getting rehired even though they haven't had a hit in years? Because at least the studio knows they're going to deliver. By creating your movie on your own, you've already passed that test. You've shown that you can make something. That if a studio gives you a check, you're actually going to give them something back in return. Combine that with a built-in audience and bam, now you got leverage. You're not a dreamer with an idea hoping that someone takes a chance on you. You're a proven asset who can sit back and wait for the best idea. I'm using film as an example, but adopting a just do shit mentality will help you in every field. Don't sit around hoping someone will invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in your restaurant idea. Start a food truck for a lot less and make sure that your serving is so delicious that the lines are around the block. If you do that, it's only a matter of time before an investor shows up with a check. Another example that I'm inspired by is the travel bloggers. Those kids aren't waiting for a big travel agency or a TV network to write them a check. They bought a plane ticket and a decent camera, traveled to some cool places, and started creating their own content. No gatekeepers told them they could do it. They just did it. In fact, a lot of older folks hated on this concept. These kids want to get paid for posting videos on vacation. Skeptics would say they need to get a real job. But those kids had a vision. They stuck with it and basically created their own industry. Today, over 30% of travelers say they consult travel blogs when picking their next vacations because of the tourism boards pay travel bloggers hundreds of millions of dollars to promote different locals. Resorts give them free rooms. Airlines give them free flights. There's a reason it becomes one of the most desired jobs for millennials. But it never would have happened if some young kids with a connecting flight and a camera hadn't said, let's just do shit. The greatest expense. I've bought a lot of luxury items over the years, more watches and chains, and I can count enough Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, Maseratis, and Ferraris to fill up a parking garage. And one of the most opulent mansions in America. But easily the most expensive thing I spend is time. I've taken chains back to my jeweler, most of them actually. I once even returned a Ferrari because I couldn't figure out how to start it. And yes, I did sell the mansion. But I don't have a receipt that can get me back the time I've put into something. That's why you have to place a premium value on how you spend the limited time you have. The person who really drove that lesson home for me was Eminem. Many years ago, I was hanging out with M in the studio and I started thinking about putting together a massive world tour. It could be me, you, Dr. Dre, and Snoop, I told him. That show would sell out stadiums all over the world. There's nobody who wouldn't want to see that show. Even as I was pitching it to him, I could see the stadiums filled with excited fans. I could see millions of dollars going into each of our bank accounts. It was like a dream sequence in my mind. M, we need to do this, I shouted, almost jumping out of my seat. M heard me out and then said, man, this sounds great. It sounds really amazing, but I don't want to do it. I'm going to leave that there, family. You know what I mean? We're going to jump back in, matter of fact. We're going to give y'all another video tonight. You know what I mean? For those that's following and want to finish the book also. You know what I mean? Because knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. Read, remember, repeat.